Well, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know that one of my favorite things to do when visiting Disney World is to go resort hopping. Resort hopping is a great way to go around and see what all is available while on Disney property, but it's no secret that Disney World property has a lot of resorts that there are to visit, and it can be intimidating trying to figure out which resorts to visit and how to visit them. The next time you visit Disney World, you may be interested in resort hopping for yourself, which is why I wanted to make this video today to share with you two of the easiest ways to go resort hopping while on Disney World property. Whether or not you're new here, welcome back to the Mega Moves channel, where I like to make videos to help families make the most of their travels so that way they can create long-lasting memories. So if this is a topic that interests you, be sure to hit the subscribe button below, and let's go ahead and get right on into the video. So if you aren't familiar with what resort hopping is, that's okay, because before becoming an annual pass holder, I had no idea what this idea of resort hopping was. Basically, to sum it up, resort hopping is hopping around the various resorts that are on Disney World property and seeing what they all have to offer. Now, before becoming an annual pass holder, anytime that I visited Disney property, I was really only interested in visiting the parks. But resort hopping is a great thing to do if you are on your Disney vacation and you have a free day from going to the parks. I always recommend having at least one free day during your Disney vacation because visiting the parks can be quite tiring, and resort hopping is just a great way to have a relaxing day, go around and see some of the different restaurants and shops that the resorts have to offer, and each of the resorts are different and unique in their own way, and it's really interesting to see how they're all different from each other. Now, the Disney World resorts are located all over Disney World property, but with the help of Disney Transportation, it provides you with two of the easiest ways to resort hop. The first easiest way to resort hop is to visit all of the resorts on the Monorail Loop. Now, I've mentioned this in a past video, but essentially the monorail is a train-like transportation that takes guests from the Transportation and Ticketing Center to the Magic Kingdom. So that is one of the primary means of getting to the Magic Kingdom, but it's also a convenient means of transportation because there is a separate monorail that connects all of the resorts that are located near the Magic Kingdom. The resorts that are located on the Monorail Loop are the Polynesian Resort, the Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, and the Contemporary Resort. Having access to the monorail makes it super convenient for visiting all of these resorts in a day. And of course, if you're staying at one of these resorts, it's already very convenient for you to hop onto the monorail. But if you aren't staying at one of the resorts, you might be wondering, how do I even get access to the monorail? If you're staying on Disney World property, you could use a bus to get you to either the Transportation and Ticketing Center or the entrance of Magic Kingdom. From either of those locations, there is access to the monorail, so you can get off of your bus and go straight onto the monorail and start doing your resort hopping. If you aren't staying on Disney World property, another great way to get to the monorail is to park at Disney Springs and then take a bus to get you to, again, either the Magic Kingdom entrance or the Transportation and Ticketing Center. Now let's talk about some of these monorail loop resorts in detail. Personally, the Polynesian Resort is probably one of my favorite Disney resorts to visit. The Polynesian Resort has that oasis island vibe that I really enjoy, but I also am a huge fan of Dole Whips, so if you aren't able to get into the Magic Kingdom to get a Dole Whip, I really enjoy going to Pineapple Lani to pick up a Dole Whip as I am resort hopping for the day. But they also have a lot of fun drinks that you can get, and there are also some restaurants that you can check out as well. From the Polynesian Resort, you can either take the monorail or walk down a short walking path to get to the Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. Now, it won't take you long to notice that the Grand Floridian is one of Disney's fancier resorts, but one of the things that I really enjoy doing is going into the Grand Floridian and looking at all of the tiling and the carpets on the floor. This resort is really neat because the floor decorations include some iconic Disney characters that you can spot out. Occasionally, you can also hear some piano playing in the lobby. There are also a lot of other fancier restaurants that you can check out while at the Grand Floridian, as well as some other stores that has some merchandise you could pick up. Another really neat thing that you can check out while at the Grand Floridian is the wedding pavilion that they have there. And if you're lucky enough, throughout the week, especially on Saturdays, you can even see a Disney wedding. I've been able to visit a couple of weekends and I have seen about 2 Disney weddings. It's fun because occasionally you can see the Cinderella carriage go by, but it's also a really pretty venue and just another neat thing to check out while you're resort hopping. After getting done at the Grand Floridian, as I mentioned, you can either hop onto the monorail or walk around the walking path that will go past the Magic Kingdom and then we'll take you to the Contemporary Resort. Now, the thing that I do love about the Contemporary Resort is that the monorail actually goes through the resort, so this is something that's very interesting, especially if you haven't seen it before. When at the Contemporary, what I love to do is stop for a bite to eat. I love visiting the Contempo Cafe and either getting those well-known Mickey waffles or a burger. Another fun dessert that you can get there is the monorail cupcake. It is a cookies and cream cupcake that has a white chocolate monorail on the top. It is so delicious and I highly recommend. But pro tip, if you're visiting the Contemporary around the evening time when the fireworks are going to be happening at the Magic Kingdom, there is actually a separate viewing spot outside on one of the balconies of the Contemporary Resort. So if you're visiting in the evening time, I highly recommend going and checking out the fireworks because it's a great view. Another resort that is close by that isn't necessarily on the monorail loop is the Fort Wilderness Lodge. This resort is nice because occasionally there is a boat that goes from the Fort Wilderness Lodge to the entrance of Magic Kingdom. So if you're interested in checking out that resort, that's also another close and easy resort that you can check out while you're visiting the Monorail Loop Resorts. So that's one of the two easiest ways that you can resort hop while on Disney property. I really enjoy the Monorail Loop Resorts because they are very close together, and if you're making a day out of it and if it's a nice day out, it's fun using the walking trail to walk out around and get some exercise to visit all of the resorts. Now we'll get into the second easiest way to do resort hopping while at Disney World, and that is to visit all of the Skyliner resorts. Now, as I mentioned, the use of Disney transportation makes it really easy to do this resort hopping, so we used the monorail before, but with these particular resorts, you'll use a different method of Disney transportation called the Skyliner. If you're unfamiliar with what the Skyliner is, basically it is an aerial gondola system that allows you to travel throughout a vast area of Disney World, because it not only allows you to do park hopping from Epcot to Hollywood Studios, but it also connects to some of the Disney World resorts, which makes it easy to resort hop and get to the parks if you're staying at those resorts. Now, one of the endpoints of the Skyliner is at the backside of Epcot. So if you're looking for ways to get access to the Skyliner if you aren't staying at one of the Skyliner resorts, I recommend either taking a bus to one of the resorts to get access to the Skyliner or taking a bus to Hollywood Studios to get onto the other endpoint of the Skyliner. Because if you take a bus to Epcot and you don't have admission to the park, you aren't going to be able to get to the backside of Epcot to get access to the Skyliner. Now, by using the Skyliner, there are a couple of resorts that you can check out when it comes to resort hopping. If you're starting at the exit of Epcot, you can visit the resorts that are on the Disney Boardwalk. This includes the Disney Boardwalk Resort, the Disney Beach Club Resort, and the Disney Yacht Club Resort. Even though these resorts are close together, each of them are very unique, and I would definitely recommend going to Beaches and Cream at the Beach Club Resort and getting some type of ice cream treat. Now, if you make your way back to the Skyliner at the exit of Epcot, the first stop that you will make is at the Riviera Resort. Now, the Riviera Resort is a European-inspired resort, I believe to pay tribute to the time that Walt spent while in Europe, and also because he loved the French and Italian Riviera. Once getting off the Skyliner, you will then walk through an arch to get to the resort. But one of my favorite things at the Riviera is what you will see underneath the arch, and you'll see a mosaic mural of a Peter Pan scene as well as a Tangled scene. This is also a really great resort to stop at to get a bite to eat. There's some pastries that you can get, and also a rooftop bar that you can get a reservation for called Topolino's. Once you're done at the Riviera, you can either take a walking path to get to the Caribbean Beach Resort, or you can use the Skyliner. I personally like using the walking path because it's not too far of a walk at all, and it's a nice scenic route to get to the Caribbean Beach Resort. Now, the Caribbean Beach Resort is a fun island-themed resort, and each of the buildings are named after different islands. The one thing that I really love about this resort is in the lobby. The smell of the lobby smells so good. It smells so tropical and island-like. So I definitely recommend checking out the lobby if you visit this resort. When at this resort, what I like to do is walk along one of the right walking paths where there are some bungalows that you can sit and enjoy the day. This is a fun spot just to sit and take a breather or to eat a snack or lunch or even do some people watching if you want. A great place to eat at this resort also is called Sebastian's Bistro. I visited there a couple of months ago and I was very pleased with the food. Once you finish up at the Caribbean Beach Resort, you will make your way to the Skyliner station and head on over to the last two resorts. These resorts are the Art of Animation Resort and the Pop Century Resort. Now, the Art of Animation Resort is another one of my favorite Disney World resorts to visit when resort hopping for obvious reasons. The Art of Animation Resort is obviously animation themed and it includes a lot of well-known Disney characters. Each of the areas of the resort are themed after well-known Disney movies, of which include Finding Nemo, The Lion King, and my favorite, the Cars movies. When walking around the resort, you can find life-size characters of the well-known characters from the movies. My favorite area of this resort is the Cars area of the resort. I love walking around this area because it's like you are right in Radiator Springs. You can see the cozy cones around the pool, as well as a lot of the Cars characters. And I might say, for all of you bloggers and vloggers out there, this is a great place to get photos and to do a photo shoot. And the last resort we have to talk about today is the Pop Century Resort. Pop Century Resort is themed around the 20th century American pop culture, and personally I think this is another really great resort like the Art of Animation Resort to visit when you are with kids, because there's a lot of those life-size figures that you can walk around and see while visiting the resort. So there you have it. There are two of the easiest ways to resort hop while at Disney World. And just to recap, you can visit the resorts that are on the Monorail Loop and the resorts that are located and have access to the Skyliner. I know I love resort hopping when it comes to visiting Disney World. And since Disney property is very large and there are a lot of resorts that you can go to visit, this is some of the easiest ways that you can go and check out a lot of the resorts at one time. And I hope I was able to simplify the process if you are looking to resort hop for yourself. Now, of course, there are a lot of other Disney resorts that I didn't mention today that you can visit whenever you are on Disney property. The best way I would recommend to visit these resorts is to go to the bus transportation center at each of the 4 parks, or to visit Disney Springs and get on a bus to visit the specific resort that you are looking to visit. So let me know in the comment section below, have you been to a Disney resort before? Have you ever stayed at a Disney resort? Let me know what your favorite Disney resort is in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But thank you so much again for watching this video today. I hope it simplified the ways to resort hop whenever you are visiting Disney World. And if you're interested in future ways of how to make the most of your travels, definitely hit that subscribe button below and we'll let you know when the next video goes live. But enjoy your Disney World resort hopping and we'll see you in the next video. See you guys!